Good morning, everyone. In this part of the world, for me, it's the morning. And first of all, I just want to say I'm just so happy that everybody's here, and hopefully in good health, peace of mind, good state of mind. And I look forward to this day to create, to explore, to learn, to reflect, and to project for the future while enjoying the past. I sent a few voicemail messages, but other than that, I know I'm going to sound as though I just woke up, because really and truly I did, even though I've been up for about an hour. You know, and you lay there and you doze off a little bit and you wake up a little more. And it's a magical time when you experience that, because you're coming out of the dream state, you're coming out of REM sleep, hopefully, and you've blended different thoughts. And I find with the wonderful people that I know that when I wake up, I throw out messages or, check messages, which are not so rigid, where they may have messaged me 3 hours early and I messaged them back and then they're sleeping now. It's a free-flowing, ongoing conversation. I said, let me just catch these thoughts while they're there, because as the day takes over and you have things to do, and it's like you put these things to the side, you go back to think about it, and you say, oh my God, I forgot about this. You know what I mean? So basically, I have a dear sister who is in Ethiopia right now from the United States, and they have connections there in their bloodline, okay? And we speak about different things in the culture, and one of the things that was passed on was that in Ethiopia right now, they're trying to, not everywhere, but this is a sign of what is probably yet to come. The leaders there, can I say president? Is there a president? Is there a this or that? We didn't speak about that. I don't know. I'm just waking up to just tell you the general thing here, right? That the leaders there are trying to turn certain places in Ethiopia into Dubai. Why do you want to do that? Why did you just wake up all of a sudden and say, hey, let's turn this place into Dubai? If you really look at it from what I'm hearing, I've never been to Dubai, and I really don't want to go, but for the sake of understanding the vibration, I have to go there one day. There's so many other places here in the motherland that I want to go, and Dubai is not really on the top of that list, because what I've left in America, Dubai is the epitome of. Even if I'm a guest and getting service, the place from what I hear has no soul. And why is that? Well, it's manufactured. And when you have these manufactured atmospheres, people feel like, wow, this is a vacation. To leave a place where we have buildings and stacked boxes and artificial living environments, to go to that again. So you pay for this and you're catered to, and you're given this facade of what someone has convinced you is luxury. But is it really luxury? Because you feel now that I don't get treated this way where I come from. I'm working these jobs and I have to slave away and I do my own stuff. Now they're catering to you, and you feel rich for a week or two, or wealthy for a week or two. Well, you paid them for this. It's prostitution on a different level. So now you want to take Ethiopia and you want to run the people away from these areas where you want to start to build these high rises. And then from what I'm hearing and what was shown to me, and I couldn't tell you specifically what area, but these people who they're running away are not affluent, they're not wealthy, they're basically, on a relative scale, poor people. And they're running them away. And they didn't say, oh, in a year's time or 2 years' time, this is what we hope to do. These people have stores and shops, and they've been living and existing. They gave them 3 days' notice. See, these are the things I really want to talk about. I like to talk about that go far below the radar. Because many will speak about Ethiopia and the spiritual aspects and being the birthplace of civilization and all of this stuff, and they don't know what's going on right now. And places like this in Ethiopia are being literally raped. I'm sorry I have to say that word. Could you imagine living your life for so long in a place where there's a vibration, where there's a frequency that's righteous, And all of a sudden, other people come in and tell you, the ones who are supposed to be looking out for your best interest, are these leaders going to allocate funds so these people can be transferred out and live the way they want to live? It's shock. You know, when you take a plant from a pot, you don't knock off all of the dirt around it and stick it in the ground with new soil on its roots now, a new temperature, a new pH level, a balance, a new everything. No, you keep most of that soil around those roots. And you dig the hole big enough so it still has what was always around it. And as the roots grow out and venture out into the other soil, it's a gradual change. But you don't shock people like that. Nature always gives you the answers. So you don't just transplant a plant and just stick it in the ground. Oh, it's dirt. It'll be okay. No, 9 times out of 10, that plant is going to die. I replanted some plants the other day out of a grow bag, and I made sure to keep the original soil around it. I'm aware it's a gradual change. But how are you going to shock people for what? To be able to charge $170,000 for a condo stacked up, high rise? Do these people want that? Why would you rip them from their existence, which was peaceful and loving, although they were poor, according to those in the engineered man-made system? But they're not poor in other ways. And I'm going to explain that. The older I get, the more I see these situations. How are you going to convince other people to come and live stacked up on each other? Well, they must want that illusion of luxury. I'm in a high rise with a view. And so with that are going to come other, what they would call amenities. All night supermarkets, shops, restaurants. Because if you live there, you have everything close to you. Forgetting that in nature, you have everything close to you. If you cultivate it, it's there for you. Where once you might, let's just make this up, I don't know what types of things grow there, but where once you'll see mango trees that give their fruits up fast and easy and free, in the same area now where it's supposed to be so much better because of the people who think with a Western mentality, that now you have to buy that same mango that's pretty much imported from somewhere else, but could have grown for free in that soil. But you have man with his greed that wants to get between, let's just say what it is, and I say the word God. I'm not apologizing for saying that, but wants to get in between your relationship with God and strip everything away and give you a substitute. Because those people who live in those so-called poor areas, let me tell you something. Look at it this way. Let me just stick something else in. Freeze that. We're coming back to that. I was scrolling on Instagram kind of mindlessly. Maybe something would pop out at me to talk about, and I'm going to talk about this. I saw, I don't know where it was in Africa, but it was a village that I would assume didn't have much money. But of course, fruits all over, food all over. Happy children who are not caught up in one having the Xbox over the other, one having a bigger computer or a newer phone over the other. They had a pool table outside, happily playing pool. And so you say to yourself, well, so what, SCURV? They're playing pool, so what? What are they doing with a pool table and they're supposed to be so poor? Pool tables aren't cheap. Well, you know what? They were playing pool on this pool table, and they were dropping those balls in the holes, and sometimes they missed, and they were laughing, and they were having a good time. And the pool table was made of mud, hardened mud, like when you have a mud hut where they use the mud, and I don't know that technique on how they do it, but it was hardened mud, and the edges were made with not small bricks, not huge cinder blocks, but some type of block so that you now can have this flattened surface. They had holes in the corner and in the middle, just like on both sides, just like a real pool table. And they stacked these brick-like, edging next to each other and left where the holes are supposed to go, a little space, and they put a little hole in the mud so the ball can drop in. Isn't that something? Some people who might have a little more money and have a pool table by their house, they may have a more expensive pool table than the other ones, and the other ones are playing on that pool table and jealous that they have a more expensive pool table. These people didn't care. Made out of mud, hardened mud, flat surface, and they were enjoying themselves more than anyone I saw in the Western world playing pool table in a smoky environment, probably drinking a little bit, gambling a little bit. One man playing the game and he's checking out the next man's woman, and there's a fight later on. The tension. But here it was pure joy. Even the ones who weren't playing, they were jumping up and down when one would get a shot in. And they were having so much fun. No envy, no hate, no jealousy. Just a pure vibration and frequency. Yet, you go into these stackable living spaces. After running away the so-called poor people, how do you know they're poor? Yes, there's a point where the natural world touches the engineered world. We know that. And some people live closer to the line. They're in nature, the natural world, but they're closer to the engineered world. So they have to have more dealings with them. Money. But the further out into nature you live, the less of the man-made money and engineered so-called value, which is a piece of paper that you give your life force to have, the less of that you need. Here's another observation that hit me. The more you are in these artificial living conditions of stackable apartments, condos, with all of the amenities that should come natural, the more you can be a hermit, the more you can move solo, disconnecting yourself from the overall vibration of a village. You cannot have a village in these boxes, separated. You might as well just live in a coffin and pull the lid over you when you go to sleep. But when you have an open village, trees, people who sell things, you see them, they see you. And when you don't have these so-called modern amenities, you appreciate each other more. You need each other more. In the artificial man-made world, they try to pull you away from each other. So you can have people in a confined space of a high-rise box and nobody knows each other. They may in passing greet each other, but they're in their own world. In a real African village, there is none of that foolishness. We see the value in each other. We appreciate each other more. But in the engineered world, we don't have any of that. Now, check this out. I'm not going to sit here and go look up statistics for 5 or 6 hours to come and give you these numbers, because this is something you already know. If this is superior living, if this is affluent living, then how come in the high-rise area, the blocked-off cities, blocks and buildings and squares and boxes where we're disconnected from nature, if it's so much better, how come there's more killing in these areas? You know what I noticed? Which shocked me when I moved up here to the mountains in the village, even in the city of Accra, which is a city which emulates many cities. But there's a natural element to it in the people, even though they do the hustle and bustle thing. You know what I noticed? That there are less police, even in the city of Accra, which is the capital of Ghana. And when you come up to the village, when you see a police car going by, it's a sight. And the only time I see the police vehicles go through and make a little noise is when they're escorting a vehicle through that maybe it's a dignitary, or they're trying to get somewhere fast and it's not an emergency call, they're just getting somewhere faster. It's crazy. The people need each other. They see the value on each other. And guess what? It's harder to kill each other. A cab driver I was riding with, and I said this on another video, I asked him, I said, listen, I don't see any crime out here. It was late at night. We were driving through the villages before I got to my village. And I said, I don't see any of that. The people were playing the music in front of the restaurants, the little juke joints, and standing around, parked their cars. They're just laughing and talking. Some might have had some alcoholic beverages, which I don't, condone. But it never resulted in some drunken fight, whatever. And even in the disputes that I've seen, mainly in Accra, between van drivers who are hustling to make money, when they do argue, they never hit each other. They put their hands in each other's face. They raise their voices. They might nudge each other's shoulder, but I've never seen anybody ball up their fist to punch somebody, knock them down, and kick them in the face and get a weapon and stab them up. Now, maybe that might happen more as we move more into that stackable, high-rise, disconnected atmosphere where it's every man for himself and you slave just to get some paper and you give your life force. Isn't that something? So in these villages, I don't see that kind of thing going on. And there's people who may be jealous of each other for minuscule things. Those things will creep in. But at the end of the day, when it seems like two people are having a dispute in public, strangers will walk up, hey, and get between them, even when there's no threat of throwing a punch. Check that out. Isn't that something? So it's amazing to me, and it makes me want to embrace nature even more so. Why do we have to cut the roads so rigid? Of course, yeah, we have cars. I understand that. But to move these poor people who it was just that way, the way it was. If you walked out into the woods, you bushwhacked the trail and people kept walking on that. That's a little trail. It's natural. People made that. It's not all of this rigidity and removal of the divine vibration of us loving each other and appreciating each other. So now we have the place, so-called place called the hood or the ghetto. Now you see why there's so much killing and robbing and stealing and other things that are the degraded side of the human spirit, the adultery, the fornication, the twisted stuff. You're so confined in on each other. It's actually where these places have become human garbage cans. Because bad thoughts will stay. You got to get up early in the morning. You don't wake up naturally. I woke up naturally this morning. And unless the guys who are helping with construction here come a little early and wake me up, I wake up naturally. As a matter of fact, I'm still a little bit in the zone. I'm still waking up slowly. You hear the birds outside. There's a tree outside where there's a certain kind of bird. And it's not just a nest there, right? They make their own nest and they fit into it like a sleeping bag, and it's upside down. So they kind of get up in there. I don't know how they hold themselves up in there, but when the rain comes down, it doesn't hit them. And there's got to be in that little tree, maybe like about maybe 40 or 50 little nests for each bird. It's amazing to me. And I'm listening to them now. They don't bother anybody. They're near each other, but they have their own space and they vibrate with each other in nature. And they work as a collective, as I can see. It's a beautiful thing. And they all get together and help each other to build another nest. They'll just start building it. And whatever birds are born, they just find their little space. It's a beautiful thing. And it teaches me so much. Nature can teach you so much. We have those who call themselves Christians or Muslims or in Judaism and whatever religion. And they follow their books to the letter of the law, the commandments and the divine laws, all of that. But they'll walk into an artificial building called church, but they can't have church heart to heart all day, every day, vibrating with their fellow woman or man. Isn't that something? They miss it. They walk past nature that will teach you so much when you look deeper into it and say, oh, that's a bird, that's a leaf, that's a plant. Look deeper. The other day when I did the other video and I saw the rows of ants going somewhere in unison. Ants. We're supposed to be the higher beings, but ants. They had a unified purpose, but we as black people can't unify. We can't appreciate each other. We can't move with a singular purpose. We can't help each other and appreciate. It's crazy. We're so far removed out of the natural environment. And this is why you have many, and I'll say Americans, it's people from all over the world, but I'll say it that way, that come to this motherland. I'm in Ghana. They come all the way over here and they can't get along. Ain't that something? The very thing they said they wanted to get away from when they were in America, they come out here and emulate because they bring the Western mentality. And they come out here en masse, small groups, larger groups, and after a while, ain't nobody talking to nobody. They bringing that shit out here. Isn't that something? And many will feel more advanced than the poor people out here. But you're bringing your poison. Huh? You're bringing your poison. You're bringing the poison mentality out here. And then you have those who are the locals here who have their smartphones and see America, I want to go there. No, you don't. You're going to lose what you have that is so precious and so fleeting when you start to partake in that Western mentality. Isn't that something? And those who fuel this type of movement, who want you to stay that way, who want you to get like them, the corporate entities. I was observing another video where they were speaking about the resource curse. And what is that? Those countries like the Congo, in other countries, Namibia, whatever it may be, for whatever resource they may have that, you know, they have the resource there. What is it? Cobalt, right? In the Congo, I believe, right? And we need that for the cell phones and computers and electric cars. And they don't benefit from that the world needs so badly. And the people who are getting these resources at bargain basement prices, they don't care and they don't want to change the relationship. So you have resources underfoot, but you are cursed because you do not benefit from it. And the leaders over you benefit from it, but the people don't. This is why they didn't like Muammar Gaddafi, because he wanted the people to benefit greatly from what they had to offer the world. And I'm quite sure at that time, crime was non-existent. That the people loved living there, having free homes and free electricity and free health care. And if you went to school for something, you had that paid for. When you had children, you got paid for that. Not in a welfare state of mind, but in a way where we're encouraging you to have children so our land can flourish and we can teach them and raise them up. The leaders of tomorrow, the inventors of tomorrow. The answer to our issues and challenges come from the children, but when you allow the children to be tainted, poisoned, and you allow this, the subsequent generations are not going to be any good. Isn't that something? So this is why they didn't like him. And when you were going to school that maybe in Libya they didn't have a university for, you can go abroad and they will pay your way and pay for the schooling elsewhere, provided you bring that knowledge back. This is not handouts. This is cultivation. A connection between the so-called leaders that care. See, what these leaders don't know is that when you have a pyramid, it's very narrow at the top. It's a point at the top. But for that high point to exist as high as it is, you have to have a wider base. And the wider base is the common man and woman at the bottom, but there should be no sense of it being the bottom, because what goodness comes from the top should trickle down. The problem is with leaders all over the world is that what they get, they hold on just for their families. just for them, and they don't care about the people. So you have disgruntled people who are not benefiting from what they're giving to the country and the higher ups. There's a disconnect, and eventually you have revolution. And unfortunately, there's lots of bloodshed because the people up top who are getting what they get, they don't care. So when you see something like this in Ethiopia, to run poor people off, they are poor as far as money, but they are rich in the way things should be. And I see that. Why do you want to have all these baubles and rubies and gold and chains and shiny red things when you can't vibrate on a human level and we're all starving for the human touch? I don't mean anything sexual. Yeah, we need that too. But the pure vibration and love vibration between us as humans. HUE-MAN, not that other humankind type stuff. Not those viruses. No, we're not talking about that. You see? Oh, let me read this off. Oh, this is so sad. My same dear sister sent me a message for 5 minutes, but I'm not going to play her voice. But I will read this. In the heart of, how do I pronounce this? Addis Ababa? I got it wrong, please. The historic ramshackle neighborhood of Piazza once teemed with shops and cafes. People would come from across Ethiopia's capital city, I'm just waking up still, to buy anything from jeans to jewelry. Today it lies in ruins. Its distinctive stone houses with their wooden balconies and slanting metal roofs, there's a beauty to that, are all gone. In their place are jagged fields of rubble, picked over by workers with sledgehammers. People stop to stare at the wreckage. Some take pictures, but they do not stay long. The ruins are guarded by police carrying clubs. I'm angry, says a former resident. It's my heritage that's been destroyed in front of my eyes without any consultation at all. We were never told the plan. Isn't it something? Isn't it something? Look at this. I think maybe this is an article which I'm probably not going to read, but I'll drop it in the description area below. But look at this. Oh, what I just read was the beginning of that article. You know, wow. Oh, it was 5 days notice. They say for years there had been vague talk of demolishing Piazza, sweeping away the densely packed shanty towns that had sprung up between its historic buildings. The area has witnessed small-scale demolitions, but when the bulldozers moved in last month, it was unexpected. One person says they were given 5 days notice that their family home of more than 50 years would be knocked down. The water and power were cut off after 3 days. Many of our belongings were damaged or stolen during the chaotic process of vacating. Like everyone else here, they talked on the condition of anonymity, citing fears of reprisals. Several former residents and heritage experts declined to be interviewed at all. Look at this. For what? And you see what's going to happen? As far as I'm concerned, that's so unrighteous. That's so wrong to rip a people away. It's like the curse that you get when you just rip up miles and miles of trees and don't replant them. If you have to move a tree, or if you have to move several trees to build your home, plant 2 and 3 times more as a thank you to the Creator, and use those trees for what you need, but cultivate and add back. We have to live amongst and with and vibrate and compromise with nature. You just can't be inconsiderate on a divine level that is unseen to most people and do what you have to do in the name of greed. See, you don't see it as greed when you're that person who wants to come in and just wreck up a town. You see it as profit. You see it as profit. But that's blood on your hands to disorient a people and rip them up from where they are. That's that spirit. And I have to say that many of us, as melanated people who work along with these viruses, and you know what I mean when I'm saying viruses, we have also become the virus. We have also become the demon because we've become inoculated with this greed. It's intoxicating. Just like I always say, sin is sweet. What do you mean by that, SCURV? There's a substitute sweetness from sin, but it strips you and degrades you over time. You take a big bottle of Coca-Cola and you're thirsty. And those who drink it, ooh, I was thirsty. You got an energy boost because of all the sugar that's in it. But what happened to having a tall glass of juice that's not strained and refined, but has everything blended in it? It has the fiber to slow down the absorption of sugar so you don't get the sugar rush. It has nutrition in it. But you don't think about those things. That bottle of Coca-Cola has so much sugar in it. And for those who don't know, sugar in your body will leach your B vitamins to become digested. This is part of the energy low that you feel. You're stripping away something in a healthy body just for the sugar rush of the illusion of something that is made to emulate nature, but not truly emulate and copy nature. That tall glass of full juice with the pulp and everything in it is nourishing. It feeds you. It maintains the body. So the vibration between the people maintains the frequency and the vibration and the connection. And like I said before, in those situations, we need each other. In the other situations, we don't need each other. It's about bringing something home to my box. I don't care about all the other boxes, all the other families who live in this high rise. It's all about bringing home what I need just for myself. And now you're in the trap, paying for the mangoes that grow free, paying for the oranges and the lemons that grow free. And you're losing your mind. And guess what? When you want to go on vacation, what do? I got to get away. You go to nature. You go to the Caribbean. You go to the outskirts of these cities in the motherland, and you want to be in nature because you've been stripped of it. You need nature. When you look at your loved ones, you look at your spouse while you're in nature, all of that tension that comes from the inner cities and the big stackable boxes that you live in dissipates, and now you enjoy them more. But it's only for a short time. You go on a 2-week vacation, it's not enough time. As if you were living in this atmosphere 24/7 in this joy with every waking moment. I didn't know I had, or I was just going to say something for 5 minutes. I'm going to wrap this down soon because there's other content I want to make, and there's things I have to do on the high vibration of being up in nature, away from most, enjoying my relationship with nature more than I ever did before in my life. I was always aware of nature and always gravitated toward it. But when I lived in New York City, and when I moved down to Orlando, it's ever diminishing. The bigger cities are just getting worse and it's spreading out. But I love it so much. And I wanted to go to a place where nature wasn't threatened, where it would be that way. Isn't that something? How nature's so nourishing when you get to it. And why do you crave to go out into the country? It's because you're not getting the nutrients on a spiritual, mental, and emotional level, and also the physical level. There's a physical element to this thing. So I don't want to be in a deprived place, stripped away, and have to ask permission 9 times out of 10. Can I go on vacation? Oh no, it's going to be busy at that time. We'll let you know. What? That's slavery. That's like asking, when can I eat? Oh no, not until another 3 days. No. The urge is so strong, I'm going to get some food from somewhere. And that's the thing. We revolt in our stripped down condition in these inner cities and metropolitan areas where you're supposed to have everything. No, you don't get everything in those places. I don't care how many GMO mangoes they have. I'm just using mangoes as an example. It's nice to go to a restaurant. I go to restaurants every now and then, not all of them, because some of them people are nasty. Itching their behinds and sneezing over the food and flies jumping on it back there. And now, you eat it and you want to wave away the flies, but they done bit all over your food. But what happened to us getting up? Let's live without a refrigerator for a second, right? That's an amenity that most of us feel we can't live without. But if we didn't have that refrigerator, we can't store food. We have to salt it down or whatever. And that may not be the healthiest thing. But we had to get up and go out and get the vegetables. We had to go out and hunt those animals, whether it's a chicken or whatever that you eat. I'm not getting into the meat debate. But you had to collectively, somebody had to clean the fish or clean the chicken. Somebody had to get it. We had to hunt it. The sister stayed home and did the smaller things of the vegetables. But collectively, we appreciated each other because we all had a part in getting that meal together. And after we took time and prepared it and brought it together, we understood the value of each other. Because yes, you can push a little harder and do it all yourself, but you'll be trying to get breakfast together by the time dinner's ready. Forget about lunch. And we sit down and we eat with each other and we just have this love and we appreciate each other. Like, wow, look what we did together. You don't get that when you go to a restaurant. A total stranger makes something. And if they have anger in them because they're mad at the supervisor over them and they're preparing that food with anger, guess what? When you get that meal, even if you're in a good mood, even if it doesn't change you right away, that vibration and what's in that food is not just calories, it's not just protein, carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, essential fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. There's a spiritual element to that food. So we inherit that feeling. But we don't understand that now, do we? There's so much to this existence that we are not ever going to know. But if you open your mind, you can absorb so much and know that nature is perfect. Every tree, every plant, every berry, every fruit, every vegetable, every root, everything in nature has a purpose, even if you don't know it. Many of those who are here that many would say, oh, they may be a little ignorant, they're not schooled. They will tell you, you see that plant, that's good for this. You take this, that's good for that. We're losing that. Many of us, and those in the West, we have lost that. That's why we go to Walgreens, Duane Reade, CVS, and any Walmart pharmacy. Take a synthetic pill for this or that and wonder why our internal organs are suffering. You take too much of the painkiller. Why do you need painkiller? There are leaves that you can put on you that numb you and will never hurt you. You can't overdose on nature, but you can overdose on the synthetic products and poisons offered to you in these so-called pharmacies. Ooh, I can go on forever about this. And I didn't know I was going to be so long. I'm going to continue this. I'm almost all the way awake. Did I talk crazy? I know what I said, but I didn't know. And this is why I like to catch these and offer to the members on LANCESCURV. We give you the juicy stuff. We give you the juicy stuff otherwise, right? But there's no pressure with this. I slap up the same banner, get in front of the mic immediately and talk. No production where I make this banner and take time and schedule a time. No. Your body doesn't say, today you're going to go to the bathroom at 4:05. So make sure you're near a toilet to sit down. You get the feeling. The body lets you know, unless you're eating something so unholy it has to come out in 90 seconds, then something's wrong with your body. Then you know, hey, listen, next rest stop, you need to pull over. I need to use the restroom. That's how it is. And that's how it is spiritually. Because we're warned of certain things when we're connected to nature and we're connected to the God force. And the more we're connected to the nature is the more we have the God force in us, because we're rejuvenating that connection and it keeps us and warns us. It's the spiritual alarm system that lets you know when certain things may not be right about people around you. Why do you think if you see a deer in the so-called wild, and it's not wild, it's very organized in a natural sense, tailor-made for us as human beings, HUE-MAN. And you say, for example, you see a deer, and I'm going to wrap this up in a minute or two. You see a deer, you see a squirrel, you see a bird. I've found that the more pure you are in your heart and in your spirit, that so-called animal will allow you to get closer to it. If you're full of envy and anger and hate and lust and you're out of control, tainted with the bad vibrations, that animal don't want no part of you. It can see you. That deer will turn for a second and run. And that is what I do when I see people who possess these energies inside of them. I don't want to look. I don't want to get lock eyes with them. I don't want to download what's in them through the eyesight, because there's energy in the eyesight. There's bad energy in the eyesight. I don't even want to hear them. I'll close my windows and put on my own music. I don't want to even hear them. I don't want to see them. We can learn a lot from the animals. But we see someone who comes with great words, and maybe they might be appealing to the eye, and for the glorified friction they can provide with the lower desires. And we embrace demons. We lay in the bed with demons. We open up ourselves with intercourse and sexual pleasure, which is made to bond us and create life. But what kind of life are you creating when all things inside this entity is about death? So you are grinding and humping and opening up yourself to inherit their demons too. Whether it's sex or a casual conversation in public, in the Walmart checkout line, a supermarket checkout line, you can trade demons that way too. I don't want none of it. I don't want none of it at this point. No. And I'm not going to pretend. I'm a straight walk past you and I say a damn word. I'm a straight block and delete your ass. Many people have experienced that. And there are those who will always come around. Well, I don't want to show my face, so you get that content and you come on and spread it over here by me. I'm not dumb. I'm 10 steps ahead of these people. Especially now. You see how quiet it is behind me? All I hear is birds. Of course, on the main road, and it's not a main road, it's a 2-lane road, country road. You may hear a truck or a horn honk or whatever, Other than that, nature massages my subconscious mind as I go off to sleep, and the breeze hits me, and it's so quiet and just so beautiful, and things come out of me. See, I'm not in an artificial place where I'm sauteing and simmering in toxicity. I'm in a place where all the things that have become embedded in my essence in the Western world, it's coming out of me. I am not constipated with toxicity anymore. It's still in me now, yeah. You don't live all these years over in that place and just, you don't work hard all day in the mud and the dirt and just take a 1-minute shower. You got to hit all the spots to get it clean. And after it's clean, you better make sure and rub over those spots again. That's the beauty of cleansing. My thoughts flow better here. And now that I'm away from these atmospheres, I can see it for what it is. I have no desire to come back to anything that resembles the West. And when these computers and internet and all these modern amenities go, because they want to control us, oh well, I'm ready for it to go. I'll get my pencil, I'll get my paper and my pen, and I'll doodle and draw. If you have a scan and want to upload it, I'll give it to you and you do it, but I'm ready. I'm done. I'm happy. I'm centered. It's a beautiful thing. And when I see this imposed on the people there in Ethiopia, who makes that decision to alter your life like that and you have no say-so in it? It shows you the mindset of these people, these demons, these viruses, and it shows you what rules this world, and it shouldn't. That's the meeting of the Western mindset with nature's world. And the Western mindset and the entities behind it despise nature. Take a day and look at it that way. Look at it that way. The man-made engineered world and nature. Nature's not running after the man-made world. It wants to stay away from it. But the man-made engineered world has to chop down nature, take from it, rape and rob it for its own profit, to have you captive in these artificial living conditions so it can sell something to you, sell you that mango that you can pick so free and get up under a tree in the so-called wild. And it's not wild. The engineered system is wild with the killings and the murders and the deaths, and they got to police artificially themselves. Out here, we don't have to police anything. They're there for those who come here and poison the man-made engineered system. I mean the nature system from the man-made engineered system. But the bottom line is that when left alone, we'll be all right. Everything will be all right. I never saw an alligator have a nervous breakdown. I never saw a rabbit running crazy because it was late on its mortgage. Nature is free, and all the good things that come to you, the peace of mind, the lowered heart rate, no stress. This place is made to pull stress out of you. It's a beautiful thing. But let's send our righteous energy. And when I say pray, I'm not saying any specific religion. It's a transfer of energy that we give out to the universe to those who need it, whether they know us or not, whether they acknowledge us or not. Send that energy to the people in Ethiopia who are going through this, and people all over the world who are going through this. I want someone to send righteous energy to me. We don't have to email it. We don't have to do a bank transfer in it unless you want to send artificial money to these people, right? But we're so powerful. We can overcome space and time and make a difference. So hold them in your thoughts for a little while and think that way. It really, really makes a difference. Anyway, I enjoyed this 5-minute conversation or monologue that went over 40-something minutes. But I guess it was destiny. And I like to speak that way, where it's unscripted, where I'm stimulated by something and you can put 2 or 3 different seemingly unrelated topics together and make it work. And that's the way it is in nature. That when you have a herb that does something for you, there's something else that you can add to it. 2 or 3 other herbs that make that herb more powerful. So what does that tell you? You by yourself, combined with the right 2 or 3 other people or more, makes you more powerful. But how many people are going to see it that way? That an example in nature is also an example to us on a spiritual level, mental, physical, and emotional level. It's a beautiful thing. I'm learning every day, and I have lessons to get when I go out in nature and sit down amongst the fruit trees and relax myself and let these things come to me. It's the best schooling that I've ever had in my life. It's a beautiful thing, and I want you to experience that also. Move out of that place. Even if you're there and have to be there, keep your mind out of there. Grab what little bit of nature you can as you move about that hostile living environment, toxic environment, where you're cut off from the source of all peace and joy. Nothing but chaos and calamity. Get away from that. And if you're in a place where you hear a threat of that, get ready to move out. Go way out as far as you can. I don't care if you can't get a cell phone signal there. Move far out, away from them places. Because these people hate nature, and they hate to see you receive the gifts of life and food and shelter given freely that you can fully utilize when you show unity. So the first thing they have to do is keep us from being unified and keep us from loving each other. And I don't even think I finished the story with the cab driver. And we were speaking about the crime in America and UK and all these so-called Western-minded places. And I said, man, give me your opinion. Why is it not like that here? The first thing out of his mouth, oh, we love each other. Even when we have differences, we appreciate each other. And I went on further to say, because we need each other. See, when you don't need somebody, you're in a relationship and the woman makes all this money, which is not a bad thing, but you're in the engineered system. Yeah, Negro, I don't need you. I make my money. Not realizing that she does. And it's not about money, but the money got between the righteous union of you needing each other. And you think this tall bottle of Coca-Cola is going to nourish you like a tall glass of juice. with the Pope and everything. I'm getting kind of abstract, right? I'll talk in little abstract fables that way and anecdotes. My mind is open. I don't need to put smoke in my head. I don't need to put weed in my brain. And I need oxygen in my brain. Pure oxygen. You inhale that. You come up in the mountains where the air is pure and inhale that. You don't want to put nothing else in your head. And if you still do, you're still poisoned and blinded. And you don't know what you really need. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this down. Much love to you all. And if you're hearing this retroactively and you became a member months from now, whatever, the truths within still hold weight. Move away from the Western mindset, even when you're there. Embrace nature. I don't care if you have to take a walk to a park or hug a tree. Let them call you crazy. The state of their own mind will make them think what they think. Man, I saw him humping on the tree. You ain't humping on no tree. You're hugging the tree. The energy, the roots go down into the ground. The leaves and the branches reach up to the heavens and pull down the energy like a satellite. All this stuff, technological stuff, is that they're copying off of nature. When you see these trucks and different cranes and different things to dig up the dirt, they're designed after nature. When you see the lobster, when you see the claws and the angles that they can lift up something heavier, it's copied from them. Look at the similarities. One is a copy and one is a real thing. And as you can see, I can go on forever. I've been leaving this conversation or this monologue for the last 10 minutes. Let me run. More to come later on. More shows later on. And thank you for your support. Like, share, and subscribe, and encourage people to become members for this type of stuff, because I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just talking. And I enjoy you. And leave your comments. I want to hear from you. I will always respond. Much love to you all. Always hit LANCESCURV.com. If you don't see me here anymore, go to LANCESCURV.com. It'll always be there. All the work. And I will see you later. Have a wonderful high vibration and very progressive and productive day or night. Because we're supposed to ascend 24 hours. No matter whether we're sleeping, eating, sitting on the toilet bowl, or just reading a book. You know I'm crazy. Take care, y'all. So long. Peace.